Give me a bold prediction for this offseason. Like it starts in a couple of days and they get about 7-8 weeks off and then training camp starts. Give me a bold prediction.
Ronnie Bell is going to be a significant receiver for them this year.
Yeah, he needs to quit dropping the ball. Man, that was disappointing.
He had a bad second OTA,
but he gets a lot of targets. Clearly, they trust him. It happens.
In doing the deep dive on the scouting report on Ronnie Bell, his dad is the wide receiver coach at Southwest Missouri State.
Oh,
that's why Ronnie Bell, to me, looks like an instructional video on how to play receiver.
I saw your son compare him to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Cooper Kupp. Amon-Ra St. Brown, like physically, very similar. I can see that. So that's a good.
And, well, how about Cooper Kupp? What is Cooper Kupp? 4'6"?
He's about 6'2", though. He's about 6'2". But in terms of height, weight, speed.
Yeah, Ronnie Bell doesn't look like much, but I mean, he had a couple drops in this last practice.
He gets open.
The ball skills are off the charts, and his ability to bounce back off the ACL from the
also Jawan Jennings drops a bunch of passes in practice too. It doesn't mean he's has bad hands.
I'm just saying Ronnie Bell. I really hated that pick when I saw it. I'm like, what? Why? I don't get it. I get it now. I do get it. I really like Ronnie Bell. And the other bold prediction I'll make is I think Jair Brown is going to take the job away from Gibson this summer. Yeah. I think Jair Brown's your free safety starter week one. That'd be my prediction.
If Gibson misses a week of practice, if he gets a groin injury, a hamstring, if he misses it's over. I would agree. He's going to have to play lights out to keep this job. And frankly, a 33-year-old DB probably is going to get nicked up at some point. So yeah, I would say it's a matter of time for him. I got a bold prediction.
Go ahead.
They're going to trade Brock. I'm just kidding. They're going to. I don't think Drake Jackson's going to get that job. Looking at him, it looks like he's put on weight, but not necessarily a ton of muscle. They're saying he's bench pressing 315 2 or 3 times. That doesn't sound like a starting NFL defensive end. I bet you Cleveland Farrell's a whole lot stronger than that. So I'm guessing they give him all offseason, and then ultimately they sign a defensive end such as Leonard Floyd or Yannick Ngakoue. I think they're going to do it the way they signed Tashawn Gibson in training camp last year.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to get the job.
That is bold.
I don't think he's going to get it.
I'll make one.
Were you there with Kasarik? I don't think you were there with Kasarik, but
no,
he talked for like 8 minutes.
I came in, I looked at the room, and there was like 18 people around Chris, and I was like, I want to hear from Chris, but then, so I went to Johnny and Bullets.
Well, here's my impression of what he said about Drake, since I had to take all these things down. He basically implied that Drake's work ethic last year was terrible, and that now it's good. And it's like, if he just started working out, lifting every day, it sounded like he was lifting like 1 day a week last year during this season. Because he kept saying it can't just be 1 day a week. And this year he's stacking days. It's like, okay, well that sounds like you might be another year away. And he even said some young players make their biggest leaps between years 2 and 3. It's like, oof. So I don't know that he's there, and he's still pretty young. Is he 21? How old is he?
He's very young. How old's Drake?
He is
Drake
20. He just turned 22. Just turned 22. So he's younger than Trey. So I wouldn't necessarily pencil him in as a 3-down D end on this team. Just like he just hit the 3-plate club on the bench. Like that doesn't really sound like a starting lineman in the NFL. Yet.
No, and I'll say this: he doesn't look as ripped as I thought he would look. No. He's definitely looks like he could lean out a little bit, but to me, he's flying off the edge. To me, his weightlifting is about his confidence. His confidence is sky high. Now we'll see what happens when they get with the Raiders and they're practicing against another team, and we'll see what it looks like in the preseason. But his confidence is off the charts. Right
and
now,
he doesn't have to be a 3-down guy.
I don't think
to rush the quarterback.
I don't see anybody to really challenge him. I mean, Farrell's got 10 sacks in 4 seasons or something like that. Hyder's not an end. Beal looks like a situational guy. He wasn't even a full-time guy at Georgia. Austin Bryant's got skinny legs. Barrett was a practice squad guy. So unless somebody else is coming in from the outside, I don't see anybody that can take that job away from Drake currently. But if
they
you
need
say
someone
Leonard
who can
Floyd,
set the edge. They need someone who can set the edge because he can't. I don't think Drake's going to be able to. Like, I still don't think he's strong enough. He might be a pass rusher on third downs. I'm skeptical about that. But as an edge setter like Samson Ebukam, I don't think he can do it yet. I think Cleveland Farrell would be stronger against the run and will probably end up starting over Drake Jackson. That's my prediction. Unless they bring in someone like Yannick.
I'll make a bold prediction. I think the kid they got undrafted out of North Dakota State, Wagee, is going to factor in on first and second down at defensive end opposite Bosa.
Interesting. I like that. You've been all over him. He does seem like a good athlete. Those are some good, bold predictions. Jehudi Mott says, who is going to develop Purdy besides Purdy? Man, that was deep. That's a good question, man.
I would drink no wine before it's time.
I don't know. They outsourced that on the 49ers, but it does seem like Purdy has a good team of people around him. He seems like he definitely has a good team of people, so I wouldn't worry about that.
He's going to be in Jacksonville, I believe, in the next month. They'll be developing there. I mean, the one thing that I think has to be acknowledged here is that Brock Purdy is going to develop a lot more. He barely knew the offense. Like when I asked him, where are you compared this year compared to last year at this time? He's like, oh, it's night and day. So night and day is night and day.
That's true.
So I want to see what
the complication with the complication in pro sports though is as you improve, the scouting report against you improves as well, and it's a constant battle. But that's what makes sports fun. And I'm not saying he won't. But I mean, like if you look at Willie McCovey, it's before my time. His best year in the pros, his rookie year, and it didn't mean that he got worse. It just means that people got a better look at him, and then he had to deal with that.
He won the MVP in '69, though.
I'm just saying, a Hall of Fame player. I'm not saying that he was a flash in the pan, but statistically, his best year was his rookie year. And why did that happen? Because that happens in sports sometimes. Sometimes guys struggle at first. Sometimes guys hit the ground running, and it takes a minute for the league to catch up to them. What are they doing?
But think about it this way. Kyle Shanahan's offense is also thought to be very complex. Look at the difference between Matt Ryan year one, Matt Ryan stats year two in that same offense. When you look at that, and then you hear people talk about the complexity of Kyle's offense and all the shifts and motions, everything there is to learn. And then the regular development that you have year one to year two, and then you're the quarterback year one to year two. I think people who feel like, Brock's totally a finished product. He's a finished product compared to Trey Lance. He's a finished product compared to a lot of rookie quarterbacks, but that's far different than a finished product.
But people still remember Jimmy Garoppolo getting traded here, learning enough of the playbook in a month, winning 5 games. Like people remember that. And he came back down to earth because for the same reason. The league got to look at him. They're like, okay, you're limited. You can't do this. You can't do this. Got it. All right. So now we're going to do this. I mean, and then ultimately he couldn't overcome the book on him. I mean, I don't think he can. We'll see with Brock. What I think is interesting about what Greasy's basically saying is that, Brock's good. He's poised. He's mobile. He's got a good escapability. He's accurate, but we want him better in the pocket. We want him to be a better pocket quarterback. That's where they stand with him. And I don't know. I mean, maybe they're being too hard on him, but he did not step up in the pocket on that play, and Kyle immediately blamed him for it. And he is a little small. I mean, maybe he's not the kind of guy who does step up in the pocket. Maybe he's always going to be the guy who backs out of it like Kyler Murray. Don't know. In which case, maybe that's why Brian Greasy is so intrigued with Sam Darnold, and his.
Well, I mean, all the years watching Steve Young, Joe Montana, all the great quarterbacks you can think of, how many of them tried to escape out the back door?
It's a bad habit.
And I think it's things like it's moments like that they're pointing to and saying, "Hey, look, we're going to eradicate this part of his game. We're going to, try to work on other aspects." But there's some. I mean, come on, we're talking about we're talking about a 23-year-old player. So he's going to get better. I mean, he's going to get, and he's not totally arrived. I mean, I think that's normal. I don't find it abnormal to say that, man, Brock has not hit the ceiling, because realistically, I don't even know that he knew the entire scope of the offense last year.
That's true. That's fair. I think what's sad about what happened to Brock is that damn injury. That really sucks. I feel bad for Brock because now you don't know what that arm's going to be like. Hopefully it's no issue for him. Definitely rooting for him to make a full recovery.
And not just hopefully, if his arm loses zip, his whole dynamic,
super sad.
I mean, his whole winning equation could break down if he can't throw the deep out.
Then he would just be the next young quarterback that Kyle Shanahan ruined, honestly. From RG3 to this kid. Like, I feel, Brock, praying for you, dude. Hope you make it back. We all like you and root for you. Sometimes people think that like I'm like rooting against him. I'm dug in on Trey. Like, I don't care. I'm not rooting for Trey. I do feel like Trey's gotten a raw deal, but now I feel bad for Brock too. Like, he's under the knife after 8 starts, and that's a disturbing trend for Kyle's young quarterback. So, Brock, wishing you all the best, baby.
And I think you, like a lot of people, like a lot of the fans too, are invested in the idea that Trey Lance was brought here to be the face of the franchise,
win a Super Bowl.
to
Get
elevate
you over the hump
to the top tier quarterbacks and to be the face of this franchise for 10
give you something you didn't have at the quarterback position. Take you something new.
And there's a lot of people that don't feel comfortable moving off that,
especially after 4 starts. I mean, it'd be one thing if it's like compare the Jets and the Niners. Okay, Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan. Robert Saleh goes to the Jets. They hire they draft Zach Wilson ahead of Trey Lance. And he's really rejected more than Trey. Like, he plays 20-something games. He loses a lot. His locker room rebels against him. They make T-shirts about the back. No one did that to Trey here. They wrap their arms around him. They keep him on the team. They bring in Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. Like, here, he's only had 4 starts. And now you're talking about Sam Darnold is better than him. Like, I don't know. It just feels like, I don't know.
Well, in a way, it's the same thing, right? It's like the Jets got to look at Zach Wilson. Did they release him? No.
They got 20 games looked though.
But did they pawn him off for a 5th round pick? No. He's just still there on their roster. But are they leaning on him? No. And the Niners did the exact same thing. Trey's on their roster. They're not leaning on him. And
but they replaced him for Aaron Rodgers. He started 22 games and they replaced him with Aaron Rodgers. Like, Trey Lance started 4. And they're replacing him with a guy who started 8.
But who also didn't lose a game except for the Philly game.
Jimmy went 16-2 to start his career. Like, I don't want to hear about the win-loss. I love Brock. But I'm saying, like, it's a huge unknown what they're doing. They didn't pivot to a Hall of Fame quarterback. They pivot to another young quarterback that had a nice start to his career, a great start to his career.
I think they look at Brock
still unknowns.
Brock to them is like literally walking down Market Street and there goes $100 bill blowing in the wind. Oh, look at that. Look at that. $100 bill.
That's great. That's great. But that doesn't mean that you're rich now. You just have $100. Like, you don't quit your job because you found a freaking $100 bill. You still work, baby.